Welcome to Football Today TV. These is your home for updated football news. So feel free to share your opinions and remember to subscribe as we continue to grow our family. Liverpool Football Club are facing a difficult moment in their rebuild, even after spending a huge amount of money in the summer. The club were expected to strengthen their team and build a platform for future success. But recent results and ongoing issues have raised questions about how the squad is shaping up and what lies ahead for the Reds. This story shows that big spending alone does not always produce clarity or stability, and that Liverpool now have a long list of important decisions to make before next season begins. In the summer, Liverpool spent close to £450 million on new players, a figure that stunned many in world football and showed huge ambition from the club. They brought in several high-profile signings with the hope of improving the squad and pushing for titles again. Some of these players have made an impact and shown their quality, but others have struggled with injuries or have not yet settled into the team. This means that the rebuild, rather than being a clean transformation, has become far more complex and uncertain. One of the main problems now is uncertainty about how Liverpool's squad will look by the time the next season starts. A good example of this is in defense. Liverpool had hoped to strengthen their centre-back options, but one target, Marc Guehi, ended up joining Manchester City. Meanwhile, existing defenders such as Ibrahima Konate and Andrew Robertson have situations that could lead to changes. If players like Konate leave, the club could be forced into making more signings to fill the gaps. This has made the defensive planning side of the rebuild much harder and more expensive than originally planned. Another issue for Liverpool is that the contract situations of key defenders may soon require attention. Players like Robertson, Joe Gomez, and Virgil van Dijk are all approaching important stages in their deals. If Liverpool cannot extend these contracts, they might lose valuable experience from their backline, which could weaken the squad further. A weakening defense would be a serious concern for a team that wants to stay competitive in both the Premier League and in Europe. Problems are not limited to defense. On the right side of the pitch, Liverpool are also facing questions about how they will proceed. Mohamed Salah, one of the club's most important players, has returned from international duty later and has had open disagreements with the manager Arne Slot. This has fueled speculation about whether he will stay at the club for the long term. If Salah leaves, Liverpool will need to find a replacement who can provide the same attacking threat he has shown over many seasons. Federico Chiesa, who was brought in to play on the right as well, has barely featured and is expected to depart at the end of the season. His lack of playing time means Liverpool will likely need reinforcements on the right side of midfield, adding another layer to what is already a complicated future planning situation. When big players are leaving or not performing as expected, it forces clubs to rethink their transfer priorities, often at short notice. The midfield area, too, has drawn attention since the summer spending. This part of the team was rebuilt at great cost, and many hoped it would be Liverpool's strength in the coming years. However, questions remain over whether it is balanced enough to challenge for top trophies next season. Curtis Jones, for example, has attracted interest from other clubs, and if he decides he wants a new challenge, Liverpool could find themselves needing yet another midfielder. Complicating this is the difficulty Liverpool have had in selling some players. The club expected to receive around £35 million from Aston Villa for Harvey Elliott, but that deal has stalled, meaning Liverpool still have to find a buyer. When clubs cannot move players on, it limits their ability to manage the squad effectively and balance the books. Keeping players who are not playing regularly can lower morale and also limits opportunities for younger players to step up. Adding to the uncertainty is the fact that several key figures behind the scenes are also approaching the ends of their contracts. Manager Arne Slot, sporting director Richard Hughes, and CEO of football Michael Edwards all have around 18 months left on their deals. When leadership contracts are ticking down, it can create instability because the long-term vision of the club can come into question. If any of these leaders choose to leave or are replaced, Liverpool could be entering a period of major change off the pitch as well as on it. From an outsider's perspective, the scale of the summer spending was meant to bring stability and clarity, not uncertainty. The expectation was that the £450 million spending spree would strengthen Liverpool's starting 11 and close gaps in weak positions. Instead, managers and fans now find themselves facing questions about squad balance, contract renewals, and future transfer targets. It is a reminder that football does not always follow simple logic. Big spending does not always guarantee immediate success or a smooth future. There are positive signs for Liverpool, however. Some of the big signings have impressed when fit and available. Florian Wirtz, a major signing in the attack, has scored goals and looked like a player capable of making a difference in important matches. Hugo Ekitike has also shown promise, and both Jeremy Frimpong and Milos Kerkez have developed well since joining the club. These players provide hope that Liverpool's huge investment could pay off in the long run if they continue to grow and stay injury-free. But it has not all been smooth. Some of the more expensive recruits have struggled with injuries, limiting their contributions. For instance, Alexander Isak, who arrived in a British record transfer, suffered fitness problems and a broken bone that kept him out for significant periods. Similarly, Jeremy Frimpong has made only a handful of starts due to recurring hamstring issues. These setbacks have made it hard for the team to find consistency and rhythm. In the context of these issues, even questions about the team's style of play have emerged. With a lot of new faces and changes in personnel, it can take time for a team to develop a clear way of playing that fits all the players. Analysts have pointed out that Liverpool sometimes look uncertain in their patterns of play, especially in how they control games or press opponents. These are not fatal flaws, but in the Premier League, where many teams are strong and competitive, small mistakes can be costly. Another long-term concern is what these spending decisions mean for Liverpool's identity as a club. In the past, Liverpool were known for being smart and careful in the transfer market. The close to £450 million spending spree represented a bold change in how they operate. And while it shows ambition, it also raises questions about whether that approach will become a new long-term strategy or remains a one-off. For supporters, this period has been a mixture of excitement and frustration. Winning the Premier League title under Arne Slot brought hopes of a stable era ahead. But the recent run of unresolved issues, from contract questions to squad balance, injuries, and unsettled recruitments, has created a sense of anxiety among fans. Many want reassurance that the club's leadership has a clear plan and that this moment is a transition rather than a drift. Despite all these challenges, Liverpool remain one of the biggest clubs in football and have the potential to navigate this phase successfully. Their spending shows that they are not afraid to compete at the highest level, and they still have talented players capable of winning games. The question now is not whether Liverpool can build a strong squad. They have already bought many players with great potential. But whether they can manage the process of combining all these pieces into a coherent unit that can compete for trophies. In the end, Liverpool's story this season is not just about money spent, but about careful planning, adaptability, and leadership. The choices they make in the next months, such as who stays, who leaves, and how contracts are handled, will shape whether this summer's spending marks the beginning of a strong new era or becomes seen as a moment when momentum slipped away. With so many moving parts and uncertainties, Liverpool's rebuild remains one of the most talked about issues in English football today.